Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you've ever felt like your voice didn't matter, like your story wasn't worth sharing, you're not alone. At the Empowerography Live in-person conference this year, we brought together voices from around the world, women who chose to stand up, speak out, and share stories that changed lives. And here's the truth. Your voice matters too. If you've ever felt that pull to share your story as a guest on a podcast, to start your own podcast, or step into your power, this isn't random. It is your invitation. Head over to empowerographypodcast.com and see how you can turn your voice into impact, because your story isn't just yours. It's someone else's survival guide. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Darlene Lekowski. She is a #1 top-selling author, speaker, advocate, but most importantly, a survivor of sexual assault. Hello, Darlene. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Brad. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on your show.
It is my honor and my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I'm so excited to have you here and to jump in and to share about all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, as well as a bit about your story and your journey. With that being said, let's jump right in and get started. There is a moment in every survivor's journey where the silence begins. Could you take us back to the beginning of yours and share what you endured and why you felt that you had to carry it alone for so long?
Yeah. So at the age of 7, I was betrayed. I was betrayed by family members, which I'm sure some of your listeners can relate to. Brothers, my 2 oldest brothers, so I'm the youngest of 5 kids. My 2 oldest brothers sexually assaulted me from the ages of 7 to 12. Yeah. And I kept that a secret. The first brother just did so many threats and so many things. And I'm a 70s. I was born in the 60s. This happened to me in the 70s. And I truly believed their threats. I believed that I was the only one that this happened to. And that if I told, I would completely destroy my family. And I also grew up in the 1970s country club crowd. Everything was about image. My mom also owned a Christian bookstore. My dad was a huge pillar in the community. And I just knew I loved my parents. I actually had a really good sister and another brother that didn't hurt me, but I just knew it would have been buried. People didn't open up about their problems back then. And that was one of the key reasons. At 9 years old, I shoved all of that trauma in a box and I built survival tactics to move my life forward.
Jesus Christ. You had no one to talk to at all, like not even one of your not even your sister, your other brother, and of course, understandably, your mom owning a Christian bookstore, your dad being a pillar. Of course, you don't want to say anything because that will just shatter the image of the family dynamic, right?
The perfect family, the Christian family. Brad, it's so funny. There were so many times where I'd be at the kitchen table or we'd be playing cards and I'm like gripping it going, okay, it's time to tell. It's time to tell. And I just wouldn't and couldn't do it because if I told my sister or told my other brother, guess who they were going to tell? They were going to tell mom and dad. And if mom and dad, I know to this day, and there's proof of it that I talk about in the book, why I know they would have buried it. I just know that how would that have made me feel? Here, this little innocent little girl is out there telling her story. And yes, I'm believed, but they don't really give a shit. They bury it. You know what I mean?
My God.
I know.
And you had said your brothers made threats. What kind of threats did your brothers make against you?
So after every sexual assault, they would say things like, If you tell, you're going to be the one to blame. You've always been the black sheep of the family, but if you tell about this, it'll be even worse. Mom and dad will hate you. You're going to be orphaned. You're going to be the one breaking up the family. All of that. And
Oh
I'm the
my
youngest of
God.
5, and these
Yeah.
brothers are 5 and 9 years older than me.
Yeah.
You're supposed to trust your family. What is
Yes,
that
they're supposed
you
to be your protectors. You always
Yes.
hear stories of the brothers always protecting their
Yeah,
little younger sisters.
I know. And this is so much more common than you would ever think. It is 3 to 5 times more common for an older brother or sister to be abusing a younger sibling than it is a parent to child abuse.
Oh, wow.
Nobody knows about that, Brad. The other statistic I'm telling you will blow your mind. And this is why
Mhm.
I'm out talking and speaking about this, because it's that hidden taboo. It is believed by research, 1 in every 20 to 25 children in a classroom in the world are today getting sexually abused by an older brother or sister. It's that
Oh my
common.
gosh.
Yeah, but
But it
nobody
gets
talks about
buried
it.
because people don't talk about it because of the shame around
Yes.
it. And any kind of sexual assault is horrible and wrong and
Yeah.
just, but to have it happen by family, like siblings.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that dynamic. And this is where I think and why so many, and it used to be the incest word, and now it's
Yes.
sibling sexual trauma and abuse, because nobody likes
Mhm.
the icky incest word. But it's that whole family dynamic of this type of abuse that
Mhm.
if I tell, I'm going to destroy my family. But if I
Right.
don't tell, and what started happening to me in my 50s, I'm going to destroy myself.
Exactly. Exactly. So obviously we know which is worse, destroying yourself,
Yes.
right? But keeping quiet to preserve or save the family image, it's got to be normalized to be talked about. This has to become the
It
the
does.
norm to talk about this stuff, because people can't sit and live with that and bury that, because as we know, when emotional shit like that gets buried, it manifests within us as dis-ease. It could lead to suicide. Who knows? So many different things at the behest of your own health and taking care of yourself to save the family image. And of course, as a child, you're going to listen to your older brothers and not say anything and
Yeah.
keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. And for me, I had 90% of my life was great. I
Mhm.
lived in a beautiful home. I had a loving mother and father. I had another sister and brother who didn't hurt me. I created survival strategies that if I became popular, the
Mhm.
popular girl, then I wouldn't be home alone. So I wouldn't get
Right.
assaulted. So I became really popular in my community. I didn't want to give up the 90% good that was in my
Mhm.
life, because 10% of it was poisoned. And that was a personal choice for me. I don't say that any of your listeners have to do that. I think you hit a really big nail on the head by saying, in today's standards, let's not put up with that anymore. Let's not
Mhm.
have a child feel that she has to put up with the 10% bad. By
Yeah.
normalizing it, by talking about it, by literally shattering the silence. I don't want any more little girls and little boys to feel like they can't say
No.
anything.
Did your parents or your other siblings ever learn of this? Obviously, when you came out with the book, your siblings learned about it, but did you talk to them before the release of the book and share what you were dealing with?
Well, so for me, I shoved all that trauma in a box. I
Mhm.
held the box shut for 50 years. But to your point, boxes leak. I had
Yeah.
PTSD. I didn't even know it. Luckily, I didn't have the physical ailments, but I had the mental issues, the suicidal ideations in college. I was drinking, doing drugs, but my box got burst wide open. It finally came out. And I am happy
Mhm.
to talk about that if that would be helpful, Brad. Okay.
Please.
So fast forward 50 years, Darlene is 57 years old. I vowed my parents were never to know. and they never found out. And I have to be okay with that.
Mhm.
Mom dies suddenly of a heart attack in 2021. Dad has dementia. My oldest
Right.
sister, Diane, had passed away of breast cancer back in 2008. So I have 3 family members that never knew or heard about the secret.
Right.
And one of the brothers who assaulted me, he and I were trying to take care of my dad, who was in dementia. You know how that is. We're the sandwich
Yes.
generation, and
Yeah.
lots of pressure. And we get in an argument, and I'm calling him like, pick up the damn phone.
Yeah.
Why do you have to fight in a text? How that all happened. So long story short, I'd had enough, Brad. I don't think it's a coincidence that 3 months after my mom dies, I'm ready to confront. And I just say to that brother, look, if you don't stop treating me the way you are, I can destroy your life if you want me to. And at the end of the text, I say rapist.
Yeah.
You won't believe what his reply was. This is a true guy in denial. He tells me to go for it. One person, if you're just called a rapist and it's not true, would say go for it.
Exactly.
So
wow.
That very night, he starts calling family members. My box of secrets is burst wide open. He's telling everybody, I've had a nervous breakdown. I've gone crazy. I'm the family black sheep, the threats from before.
Trying to do damage control before anyone else finds out.
Exactly.
You as the villain.
Right. I became the villain. That's right. And so luckily, what I was able to do was call the other brother before Don got to him. Talk about the explosion. And by the way, we're 60s children and 50s children, so we're all with the letter D. So it can be very confusing. If you look at it in my book, we actually have a little guide of who's who. Anyway, David is the one 9 years older. I call him. I don't talk about the text explosion. I just say, can you help me out? There's been something bothering me for 50 years. Can you please just tell me that you did this? And everything that I was hoping for and didn't think would ever happen, David apologized and said, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I can't believe I did this to you. I'm very sorry. So all that came, I was such relief. But then as soon as David finds out it's public, he sides with Don.
And recants what he said to you.
He totally recants it. I put everything in an email. I'm like, guys, these are the facts. Because 7-year-old little Darlene was doing the text to her rapist.
Yeah.
Now I was a calm adult, send an email. But on January 6th, 2022, sheriff shows up on my front door. I'm thinking I'm going to get an apology from the other brother, just like I did David. Instead, I get handed a lawsuit. And
what?
Yeah. And that's how I was forced to tell the truth and confront the truth. And I was not backing down anymore because now I'm in a legal battle. I'm spending thousands of dollars that I don't need to be spending.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I know.
That is unbelievable. I'm sure we'll get further into how that all played out. And for many survivors, there is a long gap, obviously with yours, healing privately and advocating publicly. Can you walk us through the emotional journey that moved you from protecting your silence to consciously choosing to become a voice for others?
Oh, I don't know. It might not come across right, but for me, I thought I was going to take my secret to the grave. I didn't think it was ever going to come out. So really what forced me to go from secrecy to now where I am today, it was the trial. The irony in all of this is that by my brother suing me, I countersue him. 2 years go by because that's how the court systems work. And on February 5th, 2024, a jury of 12 believes me. I win both cases and the truth won that day.
Oh.
Yeah. But justice, I thought I would be healed that day, but it did nothing to heal me, Brad. So what I decided to do was tell my story. That was the impetus of, okay, you've put me through hell as a little child. You stole my innocence. You made me relive all of my trauma through a 2.5-year legal battle. I'm still not healed. I'm really pissed off. I have a right to be pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done about doing everything about him. Let's now turn it around and do this about me. And I'm going to heal through writing a story, and I'm going to heal through going public. And I want to help others.
Wow. Have you forgiven your brothers for what they did?
For David, I did. In fact, it's another story. I don't even think we covered in the book, but he ended up having a massive stroke and heart attack at the same time about 4 years ago. So I live in Charlotte. He lives in Myrtle Beach. I drove down there. I went in the ICU, held his hand, hugged him, and whispered in his ear, said, I forgive you. You said sorry. For Don, and I think this is true for some survivors, forgiveness isn't in the cards all the time. Ended up forgiving myself. And that is the most important person I have to forgive. I'm not going to live with shame anymore. I'm not going to live with silence anymore.
Yeah. As they say, forgiveness isn't even for the other person. The other person doesn't even have to know.
Right.
It's more for you. It's to release yourself. It's to remove the chains and the burden of carrying that weight off of your own shoulders so that you can move forward. It's got nothing to do with the person.
Right.
It is more about you, as you said. So thank you for sharing that. And so is Dan, right?
Don.
No, sorry. The other one. David. Sorry, David.
It's okay.
Is David still with us?
He is.
Okay.
He is a former drug addict, alcoholic. I don't know if something happened to him, or maybe because of what he did to me, he just kind of caved in. But a week after I forgave him, he pulled all the tubes out of his neck in the ICU and just walked home, and he's still alive.
And do you guys have any kind of relationship whatsoever?
No. He didn't testify against me in the trial, which I think was good.
Yeah.
The other brother was trying to get him to do it. And then, so here's another D for you. Sorry. Dale, my brother, who's 2.5 years older than me, the two older brothers kept pressuring him. Darlene is evil. Darlene is this and this. You have to take sides. Quit being Switzerland. And Dale says, all right, you've pushed me enough. I have no memories of this. I didn't know about this. But guess what, guys? I believe my sister. I believe Darlene. And I think she's telling the truth. And I think you both are lying. And so now it's me and Dale with the truth on our side. And I'm very close to him still.
Yeah.
And then it's Don and David over here doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Because to your point, I had to let go of both of them. Neither one of them served me a purpose anymore. And that's the only way I've been able to live my life forward. Yeah. Think about it. The whole trial was about Don and him, and I'm going to win and I'm going to fight back. Only by saying, I've got to shed myself of the anger and the bitterness and the shame was I able to live forward.
Wow. How ironic all of that is.
Well, he gave me the gift of being released of the burden of my secret.
Yep, absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And it's poetically beautiful in a way too.
Yeah.
Because justice also got served.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
it got served in the court system. And I am so thankful that my secret got burst wide open. At the time, I thought I was going to die. I thought I was all the PTSD came back. But at the end of the road, I have to thank Don for doing what he did. Isn't that weird? Maybe that's my forgiveness, Brad.
There it is right there. That is it. I think that's it. And that's gift wrapped for you.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So what fears surfaced when you first considered stepping into this role of being an advocate? Not just fear or judgment, but fear of reopening the wounds or disrupting family dynamics or redefining your identity.
Yeah, I was so fearful of my children because I had kept this secret from them. I had become the protector since I was 7 years old. I was protecting everybody in the family. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore that came to my children who were then in their 20s. I was so afraid of my children getting the pain of hearing this story from their own mother. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what? All 3 of them said, "Mom, we wish you would have told us sooner. We now
Mm-hmm.
get why you were so in our business, why you had to control everything around you, why you were so hyper vigilant about everything."
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really been beautiful because of I overcame that fear and told them the truth of what happened. I have a closer relationship with all 3 of them.
Was there any anger from them at first, or was it all just love and support and understanding?
My sons in particular are angry. My second husband
Mm-hmm.
is still incredibly angry. He's a
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, New Yorker, so hard for them to forgive. But I think my daughter nailed it. She's in my office. I'm telling her the story, and she's, "Mom, I'm so sorry what happened to you. I love you. I believe you. But what I'm still hearing is you haven't forgiven yourself."
Mm.
And to hear that from your own child, that was a wake up call for me. And I think
Yeah.
they're both over it. They've turned a corner just like I have. I think I've been a good example in showing how if someone is not serving your life and giving you purpose, just get them out of your life.
No matter what the attachment is there, no matter if they're family, friend, the blood doesn't necessarily, yes, it bonds you as a familial thing, but you do not have to have a relation. There's no rule or law that says just because they're family means you have to have a relationship with them. If it's not
Exactly.
serving you, if it's harming you more than it's serving you, there's the door.
Exactly. And exactly what all of us have done. Dale did it. My husband, my 3 children, we're like, we're done. We're not even going to talk about this person anymore because if we focus on them and what they did to
Mhm,
me, then they
mhm.
win.
Yeah. But
I
so many people stay stuck in
yes.
that belief that because they are blood, you have to have them around. You have to have a relationship with them, and you don't.
No, you don't.
Sometimes the most deep and meaningful connections and relationships are with people that are not blood related,
That's right.
and that's okay too.
That's my girlfriends. I told you
There you
about
go.
my PTSD over the years.
Mhm.
I didn't even know I had PTSD until I was 58 years old. But I had
Wow.
episodes where I ended up letting my girlfriends in the box. Like
Mhm.
I was on a dance floor and some guy touched me in the wrong way. They thought the guy put drugs, but it was really me reacting to have gotten raped as a child. So I
Mhm.
had 6 girlfriends over those 20 to 30 years I had told, and each one of those
Yeah.
girlfriends testified for me at the trial.
Amazing.
I know.
There you go. That's family.
Yes. Yep,
That's family.
it is.
Was there a moment when you realized that keeping your story private was no longer serving you? That silence had become heavier than potential consequences of speaking about it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
Yeah.
really when the trial ended and I still
Mhm.
felt so flat and so empty. I'm like, wow, I thought by winning I would be healed. But Brad, that's not how healing
Mhm.
works. That
Yeah.
was the moment when I really decided it's time to tell
Mhm.
the world the truth. And
So right then you had the thought of writing the book about it? Like
a-
that soon after?
yeah, soon after. And then there
Yeah.
was a PTSD moment with my daughter in
Mhm.
2023 that changed my perspective, that I realized every survival skill that I built, being in control. I'm never going to let these brothers see me fail. So that means I always have to win, was literally killing me in my
Mhm.
relationships. If you always have to win, your husband becomes your opponent, your children become your opponent. And with this PTSD moment with my daughter, I converted to a 7-year-old little girl, ended up hitting her in the head because my brain thought she was my rapist because she had said she was going to no longer be in her brother's life. And I took that as she was abandoning me.
Wow.
That was a huge wake up that I said, if I don't stop these behaviors, I'm going to be alone. And it will
Yeah.
be my fault because of the
Mhm.
fact I'm not controlling my PTSD. I'm not controlling me anymore. My trauma is taking over me.
Can you just quickly tell us about the book?
Sure. So it's called Shattering Silence, a
Mhm.
story of survival, justice, and the power of telling the truth. It was released on Amazon April 2nd, 2026,
Mhm.
and it's already, to your point, an Amazon #1 bestseller.
Wow,
So,
amazing.
yeah,
Congratulations.
it's
So it's
very,
just released 6 days ago?
yes. Could you believe that?
Wow,
I know.
congratulations. That is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Celebrating you for that.
Thank you. It has been incredible. And the community support, you know how we talk about
Mm.
family? Find
Yeah.
your community. If it's not girlfriends, I found the SSTA community. I thought I was the only
Mhm.
one in the world. I thought my book was going to be the first one out. And there's all these books behind me of fellow
Yeah.
authors. Don't believe the lies that they tell you if you are
Mhm.
abused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, amazing. I wish you so much success with the book. I'm sure it will be amazing.
Thank
And I
you.
just love that you are getting that support because that is so important. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
What what role did anger, grief, or injustice play in motivating you to turn your experience into advocacy rather than keeping it as a personal healing journey? Because not everyone steps into that role of becoming an advocate who have been through that.
Right.
Some want to just keep it as the personal healing journey.
Yeah, for me, anger became my poison. And so for me, the only way that I could figure out how to let it go was to put it on paper. And I'm not suggesting to all of your listeners and viewers to write a huge book like I did and go on all these podcasts, but just put it down on paper. For
Mhm.
me, justice became letting go of the burden of my secret when I thought it was going to be winning the trial. It's just so interesting how things take a different twist when you have the right perspective of what it
Mhm.
is that you need to be able to be whole and fulfilled.
Yeah, just get it out of your head, out of your heart,
Yes.
and onto paper. You don't have to do anything with it.
Mm-mm.
Just journal it. Just write it down. Get
Right,
it out of
right.
there.
Yep.
Is that I'm sure it was incredibly cathartic and healing for you to write it too, to put it all down on paper.
Absolutely. And it was so incredible. Like I started going public about a year and a half ago. Had I been on your
Mhm.
podcast then, I would have been bawling right now. You know what I mean? That's how
Yeah.
incredible putting it down on paper. Or even I had a voice recorder. I used a ghostwriter.
Mhm.
I just recorded every moment and I got memories back I didn't even know that I had.
Wow.
That's how important it is to tell someone. If you're not going to do a
Mhm.
journal, count on girlfriends, count on the family member that loves you, or go to a
Yeah.
therapist. I have tried multiple therapy methods for the last 25 years, and I'm not
Mhm.
stopping because healing
Yeah.
doesn't end.
No, absolutely. It's not a linear journey.
Mm-mm.
When you first started writing it or recording it, was your intent from the very beginning to put it into a book and put the book out there? Or was it at first just journaling or voice recording just to get it out of your head and your heart?
No, for me, once I made the decision that I'm going to go public, it was writing a book, but I still work
Okay.
full time in
Yeah.
marketing and sales. So I decided I can't do this alone. It'll take me 20 years to write this book. So I hired a ghostwriter. I
Mhm.
actually, it was a favorite book of mine that she was motivating me in her words. And I'm like, well, she can write her own memoir. I can too.
Mhm.
So that's from the very beginning, I decided. And I found a boutique publisher in Soul
Mhm.
Speak Press who
Okay.
specialize in women's trauma and
Right.
women's stories. And so through her, I was able to find my ghostwriter as well.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Congratulations again on that. That is
Thank you.
huge.
Thanks.
When you look back at that younger version of yourself who felt she had to bury the truth to protect everybody,
Mhm.
what do you wish someone had told her?
You don't have to keep a secret. It's okay to tell. I maybe I'm too hopeful, but I'm hoping that in this generation of 2026, as a community, we can tell little boys and girls that it's okay to tell. We
Mhm.
tell little boys and girls stranger danger. We talk
Yeah.
to them about if there's a fire, stop, drop, and roll. What
Mhm.
I want to say is yell, run, and tell. And I wish
Mhm.
somebody would have told that little girl back then, it's okay and you're not alone.
Yeah. You're doing that now through your advocacy work, through your book. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for standing up. Like I said, not everyone steps into the advocacy role.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people do. I think that their experience fuels them to step into that role because they don't want others to go through the same thing. They want to help others.
Yes.
So I think a lot of survivors or thrivers do that,
Mhm.
but there are some who don't, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But kudos to the ones and celebrating the ones that do decide to step into that role, because that cannot be easy because you have to constantly relive your experience
Mhm.
because you're telling your story. And hopefully the people, the women, because it's predominantly women, and I'm not taking anything away. I know there are men who go through that as well, but hopefully they have done their healing work enough so that it's not that constant reliving. And I think that's probably part of it. You have to do that work
Mhm.
in order to be able to step into that kind of a role because you are going to be reliving it on a constant basis.
Yep. And for me, I just had an incredible experience because every time I talk and relive my trauma, I kid you not, I'm healing a little bit more. As if you can imagine, all of the nightmares came flooding out during the
I'm
trial.
sure.
I had nightmares every single night for the last 2 years since deciding to publish my book. Because remember, the brothers would say, if you tell your story, you're going to
Yeah.
My nightmares ended on April 2nd, the day the book was released. Can you believe that?
That's amazing.
I
I
know.
love hearing
Knock on
that.
wood,
Yeah.
because the reality was nothing that they were saying to me about their threats were ever true.
Yeah.
And
I
that's what we
love
have to
that.
remember.
Beautiful. How did keeping this secret shape the way you saw yourself as worthy or unworthy?
That's a doozy question because I created 2 personalities, and I bet you hear this a lot from survivors, Brad. I had the unworthy, dirty, shameful little Darlene that got shoved in that box. And then I built the second Darlene on top of the box saying, I'm going to be successful. I'm never going to lose. I am never going to let my trauma hurt me or destroy me. But then, as I mentioned earlier, what happened in my late 50s was everything I was doing to survive was actually killing me. And that's when I realized if I don't stop all of these survival tactics, I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to live a life of joy. So I had to open up that box and unbind myself from that box in order to be able to live freely and have peace and joy in my life.
That is heavy and a lot to carry and release and let go of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so freeing too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of it is confronting yourself, and that's really hard. Here's Darlene.
That's probably the hardest part.
Yes. Yes. There's little Darlene who was the perfectionist. I could do no wrong because if I did wrong, if I lost, I was going to get sexually assaulted. So I had to look within and go, what the hell am I doing that's destroying everybody around me? So even after the trial, even after that box was burst open by my brother, I still think my brain was inside that box.
Yeah.
And I just had to say to myself, what are you doing that's destroying everything and everyone around you? And that's when the healing really started beginning.
Yeah.
And that's
That is
so hard to do,
powerful.
to tell yourself,
I'm
get
sure.
your shit
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're holding yourself accountable and you're looking within as, wait a minute, what's my part in what I'm doing after the fact
Right.
to push people away, to not face myself?
Mhm. I was pushing people away every single day. I think that's really a key point.
Yeah.
You know, if you keep pushing people away, you will be alone the rest of your life. And I didn't want to be alone the rest of my life. That was the whole purpose of me keeping my secret in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we've talked about, most people know shame thrives in secrecy, in the darkness. Can you describe how shame subtly shaped your self worth over the decades and influenced how you showed up in your relationships, your career, or personal
Mm.
boundaries?
Oh, man. I hate that as victims, we are the ones that take on the shame. And it's just so awful because the shame was never ours to carry. And as a young child, I did feel dirty, unworthy in my teenage, college, 20s. I just didn't think I deserved love. I didn't know what love was. You got brothers who betrayed you.
Yeah.
So I ended up marrying a man that just was not good for me. I was with him 24 years, married to him for 21 years. I just felt that's the best I deserved. And it took years of therapy and years of trying to divorce him and finally saying to myself, no, I deserve so much better. So, in my second marriage with my second husband, I have found true love and
Mhm.
I found the healing within to not only love on the outside with another person, but love myself. And that was
Mhm.
hard to do. And only by
Yeah.
getting rid of that shame was I able to really turn it around like that.
And you are so deserving of all of that.
Thank you. Yeah.
It
I
just,
told each fiance before they married me, you better know this terrible story about me because after you hear about it, you're not going to want to marry me. That's how bad it was, Brad.
the extent of the devastation that has rippled out into your life, into your relationships, into every nook and cranny of your life.
Mhm,
People don't realize the amount of devastation that causes
mhm.
a person. It is, I don't even, fuck, it's so horrible. The places that it reaches and what it does to the human soul. And I've never experienced it. So I don't even, I can empathize
Mhm.
and I can listen and understand and sympathize, but I can't speak to that because I haven't experienced it, but I can only imagine the devastation that causes within a person, what it does to their soul.
Yeah. And I was in denial of that. When you put trauma in a box, you're denying your soul. Think
Mhm.
about that. I was going to take this to the grave. I would have been keep
And so many people do though,
yes.
Darlene. That's the horribly sad part of it is
Yeah.
so many people do. They don't ever find the strength to speak about it. They just bury it.
Yeah.
And
It's not
what
worth
that
it.
can do to a person.
Yeah. I've learned the hard way. It is not worth keeping your box. You've
Mhm.
got to burst it open. You've got to let go. You've just got to remove it because it is not worth the pain and the suffering. I was in complete denial of everything. But now that I've been able to look back, going, holy crud, I could have been healed so many years ago, but I was in
Mhm.
denial that I was okay. If I was perfect as this Darlene, the little Darlene would never come out. And I'm so thankful that the 2 Darlenes are now one. There's
Yes,
nothing better than
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. When trauma is inflicted by family members, how does that complicate the internal narrative around loyalty, love, and self protection?
I know. We talked about some of this. It is just such a difficult dynamic because I loved my life. I did not want to give up that life. And so when you're a young little girl, you have brothers threatening you, you're going to believe everything they said. And like I said before, it was that crazy dynamic that if I tell, I'm going to be the blame, I'm going to be the black sheep, I'm going to destroy the family. But if I don't tell, then I'm destroying myself. How do you
Mhm.
win in that scenario? And the only way to win, I have found, is to tell.
Yeah. Is there any part of you at all, Darlene, even the smallest part that wishes you told your parents, or are you completely at peace with them not having known?
I've been
I
answering
mean,
that
I'm sure
question.
they know now
Well, yeah,
around you.
yeah,
They're your
well, yeah,
spirit team. They're there. But
yep.
is there any part of you?
If we went back to the 70s, I still truly believe it would have been buried, and I truly believe I would have been feeling awful. I tell the story, I bring it out, and nothing happens. And that's very common with a lot of survivors of our generation. That's such a tough call. But if I were a little girl now, I'm hoping that if Darlene was 7 years old again, that I think it would have been fine to tell my parents. I think we live in a different world and a generation, and the Me Too movement and all of us being on podcasts like that really are making a difference. Back then, nobody talked about any of this. We didn't have podcasts. We
No,
knew what
very
that
true.
meant, you know?
No, exactly. But even as you got older, say before your mom passed, before your dad's dementia set in, when you were an adult, is there any part of you that wish you told them, or are you completely at peace with how you decided to deal with it with your parents?
For me, I'm at peace. I
Okay.
really am. My
Yeah.
mom was a fragile soul. Loved her to death, but I really think that it would have completely obliterated her and their marriage would have fallen apart. So, yeah, I am at peace with the way I played it.
That's good. That's the important piece. Isn't that so fucked up, though, when you think about it? You said that it would have destroyed your parents' marriage. You always hear stories of things like that, or when a child, God forbid, touch wood, when a child is murdered, sometimes it destroys and splits the whole family apart. When you think about it, it's so fucked that you would think, logically speaking, that would bring a family closer together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of the parents.
Right.
Losing a child, you would think that would bring them together, or a child, one of their children being sexually assaulted. Now, of course, it's a little bit different because I shouldn't say a little bit, it was quite a bit different because it was your other siblings. That is a very difficult idea. You could see that splitting a family apart? Absolutely, because maybe one parent sides with one child and one sides with the other. That is a very different and difficult dynamic for sure. But it's, as long as you're at peace with the decision, that's all that matters. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think it's also important for your listeners to know there is help out there. There are advocates, there are organizations, and they're on the resources section of my website. So 5 Waves in particular, if you're a parent that you have had this happen, connect with 5 Waves. My parents didn't have those resources back then. And that's what I mean by, I think it is a little bit different world. I think more and more people are coming out and talking about it.
Yeah.
Resources for survivors, but also for the parents, and also even for the one who perpetrated, because that person needs help too. As angry as I am, they need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I was. I'm not angry anymore.
Yeah. Yes, let's clarify that.
That's right.
At what point then did you stop seeing yourself solely as a survivor and begin to recognize yourself as someone stepping into their own personal power? What was that point for you?
Yeah. So during the trial, we had to go before the trial, we had to go through mediation. And as I mentioned, in mediation, I'd spent $50,000 in legal fees already. And I'm like, you sued me over your lie. I will settle out of court, but just give me 15 grand to pay for some of my legal fees. He offered me $1. And I said, fuck your dollar. Fuck you. I'll see you in court. And I'm sorry I got so vile in this.
No, it's fine. That's the emotion.
Yes.
$1.
He offered me $1 to settle out of court. And those were literally the words that I thought. And I was just like, you know what? See you in court, buddy. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I have the truth on my side. I have 7 witnesses who are testifying for me. Screw you. That's how I felt at that moment. And that's when I'm like, I'm going to go appear in front of a jury. And then after that, I'm going to write a book. And then just recently decide I'm going to become a motivational speaker too.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah.
What was more terrifying for you then, speaking your truth publicly or being forced to defend yourself in court?
The courtroom. It was so hard because I still had the shame within. So you've got 65 people coming in the courtroom and I'm sitting there, and then they make you stand up and tell what the trial's about. So I'm like, 200 people are in this courtroom. Now everybody knows I've been raped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just terrifying. And also my lawyer warned me that juries can be fickle. They said, your story is so crazy and unbelievable, a jury might not believe it. That's the society that we live in. He warned me that could happen. We saw it happen in a couple of very public trials recently with P. Diddy and all that.
Yeah, but this is why we need to normalize these fucking conversations.
Exactly.
So we don't have people sitting on a jury think, no way, this has got to be made up. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is why it needs to be normalized.
Yeah, you make a great point, but that was terrifying for me. I
I'm
did
sure.
it, but yeah, it was...
The inner strength and the resilience and the courage is just incredible and inspiring.
Thank you so much.
How did that legal battle impact your healing journey? 2 years is a long time to be in and out of the courtroom.
And what had happened during the 2 years is all the nightmares came back, all the trauma came back, all the survival tactics came back. I was literally, as I was winning, I was destroying myself and my family. And think about it, like, I was so uptight. I was so hypervigilant because now I'm getting attacked all over again. If you come near me, I'm going to get raped. That's how the human brain works when it's experienced trauma. So that's why I finally said, holy shit, I got to change. I had the PTSD moment with my daughter. I had another one with my husband. My husband and I were literally arguing all the time because I wouldn't give in.
Yeah.
How do you win an argument when the other person won't give in?
There is no winning.
No, I was incorrigible. So yeah, that's how it affected me.
What does justice mean for survivors who never get a courtroom, in your opinion? Because not everyone gets that opportunity, right?
No, I wouldn't recommend it, by the way. But I think justice for survivors really means to be shedding yourself of the shame, forgiving yourself, opening up that box and just saying no more. I am not going to do this anymore. And I'm not going to keep the secret. And I will tell whoever needs to be told. And I'm going to move forward with my life because that's the only way I'm going to heal. That's how you get your justice.
What does silence cost a child? And what does it cost the adult she becomes?
Oh, wow. We went through this a lot. My silence caused so many terrible moments for me that I didn't even recognize. And all of these secrets need to be told and will be told. You might not know when they happen. And for me, it was that text message. But I'm telling you, keeping your secret in a box to yourself is just not worth it, because I was literally about to destroy my life. And in my 20s, the drinking, the drugs, I thought about killing myself a couple times. I tell people I could have become a drug addict, an alcoholic, or a prostitute because of what I went through, but I didn't. And this is how I didn't go in that direction. I'm so thankful that didn't happen to me.
Many survivors describe living with an underlying sense of something's wrong with me. Of course, the first thing you do is you're going to blame, what did I do wrong? Or question, right? Was that present for you? And how did you begin to dismantle that?
For me, I had the shame. What is wrong with me? The one thing that a lot of survivors struggle with, and it's the whole court system. Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you yell? Why didn't you tell? All of that crap. And it's not the way it is. There are 5 F's of how people handle trauma. And for one of me and mine, there was a trauma reaction called freeze. So I have to be okay in my brain that it's okay that I froze on a couple of those sexual assaults. And to forgive yourself for that. Does that make sense, Brad, what I'm saying?
Yeah. The absolute horrific things that society puts victims through, or survivors, we'll say, don't like to use the word victims, survivors through, in terms of just what you said. Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you tell someone? What were you wearing? All of these different things, right?
And you must have been drinking when it happened.
Exactly. That is absolutely ridiculous. And How do we get around that? I know that we have to, I think it starts with conversations, making it more normalized to talk about these things when they happen. But it's, I think it's still going, people are still going to say what
Mhm.
they say, behave the way they do, but there's got to be something done to stop that, because the survivor's already living with enough shame.
Right.
And then to put all of that extra weight on top of their shoulders with you, it's your fault. You should have screamed. You should have told someone.
Mhm.
Why would you stay? You hear that in terms of
Yes.
abusive relationships.
Mhm.
Why would you stay? It's just, why wouldn't you just leave? It's not that easy. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white.
You are exactly right. And
So we
sitting
need to
on that
shift that.
stand, yeah, sitting on that stand, I'm holding onto a piece of paper going, I am not the problem. I think as a
Yes.
society, we have to shift that conversation and say
Yeah.
the survivor is not the problem. Why are we not helping the perpetrator more? And we
Yeah.
have to change that direction and conversation. And I'm hoping by trials like this, by books like this, by conversations and your podcast, we're able to turn it around, Brad.
Yeah. We need to keep, we need to just keep talking about it, keep putting it out there
Yep,
to normalize it.
for sure.
How, in your opinion, how do we create safer spaces for survivors to speak out, to have their voices heard?
Yeah, I really do think it's organizations. Like I mentioned, there's 6 or 7 of them on my website. I think that by making children feel safe, there are
Mhm.
people out there talking about child safety. There's a new campaign called the Bathing Suit Zone. Nobody is allowed to
Mhm.
touch. I
Mhm.
also think we need to make sure that SSTA and incest
Mhm.
become a common word, because
Yeah.
only until those become part of our common vernacular and people know
Mhm.
I'm not alone will we be able to prevent it.
Yeah, because when people, again, it's the conversation piece. When people start talking about it, it normalizes it for others who have been living quietly with the
Right.
shame. It gives others a permission slip and to know that they're not alone,
Yes.
to stand up. It's okay to talk about this, and you need to talk about it to unburden yourself, if nothing else.
That's right. And find your community. I
Yeah.
had girlfriends that I talked to, but they never understood it and got it as much as a fellow survivor.
Of course, they can't, right? They,
Right,
like I
right,
said, just as I was saying with me, I can empathize and I
right,
can listen and I can sympathize with what you've been, but I can't, I could never fully understand it because I haven't been through it. I haven't experienced it.
right.
But I can certainly listen and support
Yes,
1000%.
absolutely.
But, and that's as far as that goes, unless you are a fellow survivor,
Right.
then you can completely relate. So, with that, with you talking about communities, what responsibility then do communities have, in your opinion, in supporting survivors? What do we have as a community to do? What should we be doing?
Um, I think that as a community and as advocates such as yourself, Brad, believe the
Mhm.
person. And every single person in my life, I'm so fortunate that I ever told said, I believe you.
Mhm.
And many survivors are told they're not believed. And as a community, we need children don't make this stuff up. Statistic
No.
after statistic shows that. And then I also think as a community, geez, I didn't tell my story till I was 60. And it's never too late to tell your story either. Don't be afraid, and you are not alone. We need to tell not victims, survivors. We need to
Mhm.
tell survivors they're not alone in any of this.
Yeah. Beautiful. If your younger self were sitting across from you right now, what would you tell her?
Don't believe your brothers. Don't believe the threats. Holding that box, holding that secret is not worth it. You got to let it go. You got to let it out.
Okay. For someone listening who realizes that they've been carrying something quietly for years, what would be a gentle but meaningful first step toward acknowledging their truth without feeling overwhelmed in it?
Yeah, some of them we've talked about. I think sharing your story, whether you write it in a journal, whether you go see a therapist, find your community, find fellow survivors. I think that is critically important for someone taking the first step.
As someone who has moved from secrecy to speaking your truth, what question would you ask listeners who might still be standing at the edge of that decision?
What's in your box? What is it that you're holding on to that you can't seem to let go? Look within, see what it is that is holding you back, because once you identify and see what's in that box that's preventing you from living the best life you could ever live, only until you open that box will you be able to find hope under the lid.
Thank you for that. That's beautiful.
You're welcome.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
It's crazy to say this, but I think a lot of the survival skills that I built helped me become a very successful salesperson, a businesswoman, because I was so determined, so driven, so resilient. You know what I mean? But at some point, the two worlds collided and crashed. And now my superpower is just being unbound and letting go of the bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you define success, Darlene?
Success used to be being number one, being top of sales, a wonderful mother, the best that I could be. That doesn't define success. Success is surrounding yourself with the people that love you and you love them and can only lift you up and enrich your soul, because that's the only way you're going to live a beautiful life. That is success.
I love it.
Thanks.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Never giving up, fighting back with the truth when you have the truth on your side. Remember, every single listener, you have a story. And if the truth is on your side, that's how you can become empowered. And that's how you can fight back.
Love it. Okay, we're going to jump into the little rapid fire section. So
Okay.
the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3, 4 word answer type thing. Okay.
Yep.
If you could set up a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would it say?
Oh, man. It would be on the biggest highway possible where you can see the most people, or even like it's one of those sky balloons or whatever. It would say, run, yell, and tell.
Okay.
I just think we have to get that word out.
For sure.
Silence doesn't work anymore.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh, a warning label. The anger used to be within, but she's not triggered anymore.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
It's not worth keeping it all inside. Honestly, the one thing I want the world to know is the only way to live forward in your life is to really let go of all the crap and the black tar that was in my soul. That's probably in a lot of people's souls. You can't have that bitterness, that anger, that resentment, that control, all those survival skills. You got to shed it, even the shame.
One book that changed your life.
Oh, there's so many books, but I will tell you, Jeanette Wall's The Glass Castle is really, when I had read that story years ago, but after the trial, I grabbed her book again and I'm like, I want her to be my ghostwriter. You know what I mean? I never found her, but I really loved her. And I also loved Glennon Doyle's Untamed, because she stood out from the crowd and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm different. I don't belong where I am. And that's what I'm trying to do for every survivor. Fight back, stand up. You don't have to be the norm. You don't have to keep your silence.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
She spoke the truth.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
I never gave up. I never stopped moving my knife forward. And even today, I don't stop healing.
One word that defines the woman you're becoming.
I think I said it earlier. Unbound. Not bound by anything.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. How do you define love, both the kind you give and the kind you receive?
Man, that one is hard because, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't know what love was. I was taught love was something completely different. But through my second husband and where I am today, I define love as being around the people that serve you a purpose and only lift you up and never bring you down. And that
Mm,
are the people that not only can love you, but if you let that in your life, you can give that love back.
love it. What is your why, Darlene?
My why is really to tell the story about sibling sexual trauma and abuse. My purpose is to no longer have this be a taboo subject. I'm going to go into retirement in about 4 years, and I really want people to know that not only by having a common vernacular and shedding the silence of this, are we able to not have other little girls and boys experience it.
You shall achieve it. It will
Oh, thank
happen.
you. I appreciate that.
If you could step into my shoes, what is one question you would have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Oh boy. I think we've already covered it, Brad. That's why I'm struggling here. But we talked about so much. Like, how do you let go after you tell the truth? You know what I mean? What
Mhm.
happens in your life when you go out there and tell the truth and you don't have the secret anymore? But I think we kind of covered that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
If you've got anything else to add, please go ahead. If there's any other thoughts that are coming to you, please go ahead and share.
Yeah, I just think that if I'm struggling here, the final thought, I guess, would be how do you find your truth within
Mm,
and no longer be ashamed of what is going on, what's been happening to you, and figure out how to unlock that box forever and stop
mm,
having the walls and stop doing that. I know we talked a lot about this, Brad, but I just think that would
yeah,
be the kind of the final thought
yeah,
of how do you move your life forward? You only do that through the truth, and you only do that through surrounding yourself with others that love you.
beautiful. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1 hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
I know it's going to probably sound crazy, but I would love a conversation with Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
And the reason being is she's also a sexual assault victim. I
Hmm.
think it was a family member as well. And
Hmm.
she was able to turn her life around and find huge purpose and resilience. And I just love to have an hour lunch with her. I think she would be
Mm,
such a great person to meet and get that motivation and inspiration from.
hmm. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't believe the bullshit.
Straight to the point.
Yeah. Dang it. I lived for 50 years believing their lies, believing that I would be abandoned, believing that if I told, I would be destroyed. Yeah,
Hmm.
my family would be too, but they're no longer here. I'm still having
Hmm.
the nightmares up until 6 days ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's really it. Don't believe their bullshit. Your perpetrator
Okay.
is not the one that's telling the truth. Know
Mm.
that you are the one that has the truth.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
It's never too late to tell your story. The silence is not yours to carry. The shame is not yours to carry. Only by unlocking that box, by letting it go, by becoming unbound from everything that's holding you back, will you be able to become the person that is loved, become the person that you love, and become unbound by all your trauma.
Beautifully said. Beautiful way to end the interview. Darlene, thank you so much for your incredible openness, honesty, vulnerability, for sharing about the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, for sharing your experience with me, with us, and your insights and wisdom and knowledge that you've gained through all of that. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to have you here on the show today. I enjoyed every moment of our conversation. I'm grateful to call you a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you so much for showing up and shining your light with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And I am thrilled to be part of the community. It's another
Thank
community
you.
that I am just honored to be a part of.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest has been Darlene Lekowski. She is a #1 top-selling author, speaker, advocate, but most importantly, a survivor of sexual assault. Thank you so much, Darlene. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.